Right, hello everybody, Austin Kimm here. I'm Chief Operating Officer of Crypterium. If you've ever checked in on one of the live streams, I'm sure you've seen me before. A little bit different, of course, this time working from home, although I often do them from home. But a little bit different, of course, because almost everybody is working from home, so we're on a slightly strange period, but it doesn't really make that much difference to a company like Crypterium, where we are 24/7, every single hour of every single day we're operational. We have permanent cover right across the world, and of course the blockchain doesn't sleep, so it doesn't really make that much difference to us, but just bear with me. So the idea today was I thought I'd give you an update on where we are with a number of key developments. I've prepared a short presentation which I'd like to share with you. Unfortunately, the Facebook system isn't that easy to use, so when I've got the screen on, I cannot also do a screen share. So I'm going to switch between applications, so when I'm going through the presentation, you'll probably not be able to see me, but hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. I've taken some pre-questions, if that's okay. The idea being that many of you have already access to my email or my WhatsApp, so I've already received a large number of questions. So I've picked out those which are repeated most often. Hopefully I will cover those questions for you. And if I can pick up on other questions, then I will do. So hopefully this change of system is going to work, and I'm going to move now on to a PowerPoint presentation and take you through a few key developments. So I'm just hoping that everyone can see this, and when I go on to the full screen, it's all still working. So I can't actually ask you if it's working because I can't see the Facebook stream anymore, but let's go for it. So let's start off with, I thought it'd be interesting to show you where our user base is. Right now, Crypterium is pretty much right across the globe, and we have users in most countries. The idea here is not to give you exact numbers, but you can see that we've got very high interest in the UK, in Russia, southern parts of America, South America, etc. So we've got a pretty strong spread across the globe. There are some countries, of course, where there's zero interest. Blockchain and cryptocurrency probably just hasn't reached them yet. And to put this into some form of perspective, of course, cryptocurrency companies, their idea is that they are global, but very few of them are actually global. Of course, they'll have some wallet holders right across the globe, but they don't have complete services. And this is a representation not just of our wallet holders, but of our card holders as well. We estimate, or many companies estimate, that there's about 10 million cryptocurrency users in the world, which isn't as many as I think some of you think. Sometimes I hear people talking about hundreds of millions, but there isn't. There's probably only between 10 and 15 million cryptocurrency users out there. And we've had over 500,000 people have downloaded our application. So that is 5% of the global cryptocurrency market. Now, of course, we would love to have 100%, but 5% is not a bad starting point. And as you can see, it is right across the globe. And this is pretty much representative of where we issued our UnionPay cards to. Now, I know a lot of you have suffered a few problems with the UnionPay card, and in particular, we've had issues in Brazil, for example. We had a few issues in Turkey and a few issues in China. And unfortunately, this is outside our control. I know that many people think that we control all aspects of the process, but we don't. We are, as I have explained in the past, working on somebody else's roads. The roads built by UnionPay, the roads built by Visa, etc. And we have to pay to use those roads, and if they switch off the toll, we can't even use the road. And that is the case, unfortunately, in some of the markets. So when we launch, everything is good. 2 months later, it's not good. Then hopefully in 2 months' time, it's good again. So we decided that we couldn't be reliant on just one card provider. We're happy with the UnionPay card. It has some fantastic features, an incredibly high limit of $60,000. We don't think anyone has got a card anything like that. It tops up quickly, it transacts quickly, but it has had a few issues. So we decided we also needed to launch a Visa card. So I think for some of you, hopefully you're going to be pleased to know that we are also launching Visa. And it is, when I say we are process of launching, it is launching as we speak. So right now we're in beta testing mode. The idea is that we will test it with about 100 users. Those 100 users are all over the globe. We don't just have 100 users out of the UK, we have 100 users. One is in, for example, Turkey, as I know that's a country where people are concerned about. We have one in Brazil, again, another country where I know people are concerned about. So we've got users handpicked right across the globe to test it. This is the design of the card. This is the actual card that will be issued. It has a different types of features than the UnionPay card. There's a minimum card load, maximum card load. So the total limits are not perhaps quite as good as the UnionPay limits. We've got a daily load limit of 5,000 and a monthly, effectively, withdrawal limit at an ATM of 2,500. But for 99% of our users, that is well within the requirements that they need. In fact, no one has ever tried to even come close to the limits that are on the UnionPay card. So this is launching really as we speak. We've got the web page is being updated right now. I'm not sure if this is live. I'm going to come out of this and show you our landing web page that is going to be used in the very near future. So I'm just going to click. Hopefully, again, people can see what's going on. And you will see now that you will get, when you get to our landing page, a choice. You've got a choice of either the UnionPay or the Visa card, whichever is the most suitable in your market. If you click on the Visa, of course, we always have a nice fancy video. Okay, so that was the video. You will see that on our landing page in the very near future. So where we are right now, we are finalizing the order process for customers to be able to click on the app for the order process. As I say, the web version will go first. You'll be able to order the card. And just to put it into perspective, we don't think anybody in the world right now, whether it's crypto or non-crypto, has a choice of either a Visa or a UnionPay card within their service. Now, I know some companies may have, say, Visa and an American Express, where one is sort of considered as a luxury card and one is a standard card. But as far as we're aware, nobody can do a choice of cards. So we're going to give customers a choice of card, which is really something quite unique. Now, people do have cards in other apps, which is, I don't know, you could have a euro or a dollar card, but to actually have two fundamentally different networks that your service joins to, we think is unique. And I just wanted to show you what it looks like inside the application. So of course I'm one of the testers, so I've got it inside my application as well. And rather than try and show you on the screen, I think it is better to show you on the on a presentation. So I'm just going to go back to the presentation and hope that this works. So the video on the right should show you the screens that will happen. As you see, it's the standard Crypterium screen. When you sign in, it looks exactly the same as it always did. This is a test screen. And then when you click on My Cards, you've now got, immediately you've got a Visa card, which has all the history of the Visa card on it. No different than you've seen before. But you can also, of course, switch between the Visa card and a UnionPay card. Oh, sorry, I'm just showing you the fact that, you know, the loading and all the other features are no different than you've seen in the past. But you can then between a Visa card or a UnionPay card. And that is quite a unique function to be able to choose two different networks. Now, what that means for us is that you have complete flexibility right across the globe. And as I say, I don't think anybody else has the ability to do that. In terms of the issues that we face, so I know several people have written to me about very specific countries. Why can we not do something in such and such a country? Now, this we try to do as best as we can with this, but it's not possible to have a card that is issued or capable of being used anywhere. So I thought what I'd show you is the fact that we have probably the best global coverage of any company in the crypto space. So what you can see here, where both cards cannot be used, other cards are the countries that are shown in black. The ones where Visa is going to struggle to be used. It's not that Visa can't be used in that country. So if you have a Visa card and you go to, I don't know, Ghana and they have Visa, then you can use it. But we cannot issue a Visa card to a Ghanaian who is living in Ghana because we just cannot get through the KYC process. So we have those where both countries are not available, those where Visa is not available, and those where UnionPay is not available. So there are only 24 countries in the entire world of 210 or whatever countries there are where we cannot currently issue a card. And you can see that they are pretty, relatively small in terms of global economies. So, okay, Yemen and West Bank, I'm sure you'd expect us not to be able to issue cards there. Iraq and Iran, I'm sure, you'd expect us not to be able to issue cards there. The UnionPay card has less restrictions, but it also has a few problems, as I said. For reasons outside our control, we're not completely sure why it's not working properly in Brazil, or why our card providers have a big problem with Turkey right now, but they do. It's usually due to fraud. Now, please don't take this as a slight on the nationals of those countries, but it is usually due to fraud. And when a significant volume of fraud comes through, then they switch off a country if they don't think they can fix it. So the way it works for most people is they'll make a transaction on a Visa card, and then they will then later say, I never received my goods, or whatever it is, and then there's a whole process. I'm sure you can work out yourself the various frauds that take place, and that's the key driver behind this. But the end story is we can do pretty much all of the major markets anywhere in the world. So the new Visa card we can issue pretty much anywhere. It cannot be, I suppose the key market where we cannot issue the Visa card right now is the USA, and we can't issue it to Pakistan either. USA is very specific. They have a very global, very specific program for user cards in the USA, so we cannot issue them to the USA. But everywhere else, so I would say we do have a proper global coverage, which I think is very, very important. So we have I think we have the best spread of cards right across the world, and we will start to issue those Visa cards within the next, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks. The beta testers will be finished, and then we will issue them to everybody else. So I think that's the good news. It's taken us a very long time to get to this position where we had a card with Visa. It's approved by Visa, by the way, not just through a third party. It is formally approved Visa. That's why you can see the Crypterium name on card. So all the problems that we face with UnionPay, where it is very difficult for us to get direct authorization from UnionPay, are, in my opinion, solved. So going back to some other things, not just Visa is coming up. Another thing which I'm very excited about is our white label. Again, I've talked about the white label in the past, and what the white label means is we can integrate through a single button in someone else's application the whole Crypterium service. It doesn't have to be the entire Crypterium service. It could be just a slither of it. So, for example, just cards. But usually, all the partners that we are currently working with are looking for an entire solution. So you could imagine a classical application where you might check the prices of cryptocurrency. There might be a button there that says full wallet services or buy crypto or whatever it is, you click on it, and effectively it's called an SDK. I actually don't know what SDK stands for. I'm sure somebody else out there does. But effectively they're using our application. And this is just an example of one. And I thought I'd show you a live one because I think some of you probably think, okay, it's all about the future, but it's not the future. It is a live service. So right now, if you went onto the web store, you'll be able to download several of them. I'm just going to show you one of them. So first of all, I'll show you, where you could find it on the web store or on the app store. So this is the app store. We have a company out there called OneL. The application is called something different. They're a Forex company, and they want the ability to have cryptocurrency inside their wallet. There is the application sitting there, of games, etc. And it's just the same as every other normal application that you would download, except of course this is now for a company called the user, and it is a full white label service. So I'm not going to take you through all the sign in, but I did videos. I'll do the second video now, which is the inside part of the application. I did earlier today. I'd never actually used the 1x application. Of course, I don't have a need to. And you can very similar to what you would be used to if it was the Crypterium application, but it's been designed with the user in mind, or the brand of the user. So when we do a white label, the partner has the ability to change a number of key features, and they can change some of the sort of the key drivers and how cards are delivered, etc. So this is one that is live. We have, I think, 5 partnerships live right now, and we have at least another 5 which we would hope to go live during May. And one of them I would hope will be exceptionally big. They potentially could order as many as 50,000 Visa cards, which would be very nice for us. And as I say, let me go back. There's only 10 million crypto users out there. So if we can issue 50,000 Visa cards to one partner, that's a significant chunk of people. In terms of the okay, let me jump onto other aspects. So I'm going to jump out of this presentation now, go back to the screen so you can actually see me. So Visa cards, white label, very, very important to us. And with regards to white label, I'll just make a little offer to anybody out there. So we, like anybody, have to find our white label partners. They don't all, unfortunately, come falling at our floor and say, please take me. So we have to go and find those white label partners. So if you know of companies out there that would welcome a simple solution, in terms of the amount of work it takes for a partner, if they have an application already, or if they have a website already, it is several lines of code. And when I say several, I'm talking 5 or 6 lines of code. Of course, there is optimization that needs to be done at their end, etc. But it's 2, maybe 3 days of work maximum for the partner. And what we do is we do a revenue share. So our partner has a minimum requirement that they have to achieve. And once they get past the minimum requirement, there is a revenue share. And it's a very attractive revenue share. It could be as high as even 50-50 if it is a very large partner. And that's the business model we work. And we also work with intermediaries, and we pay a commission to intermediaries. So if anybody who is watching this or knows somebody who would be in this space, more than happy to hear from you, because we'd be very happy to find effectively a finder's fee to add more partners. We can cope with 5, 6, 7 new partners per month. And then, of course, the more that we add, the better our capability gets. And then we should be able to add 10 or 11, depending, as we get more experience. So white label is very exciting for us. So they're the 2 key things that we have focused on in the last few months. We've also had KYC issues, which I'm sure you are know your customer issues, partially under our, partially outside our control. So we work with a company called Jumio. Jumio had all the database or call centers based in India. Of course, with the COVID virus, That's caused them a lot of problems. Those problems pass on to us, and we have to try and fix them at our end. So that's what we've been focusing our main attention on in the last couple of months, getting the Visa launched, doing the white label, and fixing all of the KYC problems. But we also are aware that not everybody wants a card. Not everybody is interested in white label. So when I gave my last stream, I think it was about a month ago, or maybe 6 weeks ago, and I showed you some of the survey data. And what was made clear to us was a lot of people are interested in the investment side. So we have also put a lot of effort into the investment side. So I'm just going to jump back again. Please this backwards and forwards. As I say, it's a little bit clunky. I'm trying to do this on a Facebook. So what you can see here are tokens that we are launching inside our application. I think the date was the 27th, 28th of April, so i.e. next week. It is possible we might slip a few days, but this is, next week stuff, 10 days at the latest. And these are the additional tokens that we are launching next week, and then we aim to add more tokens thereafter. What we found from our users was that they really want to have a wider access to tokens. Those tokens in the first instance won't all be tradable against each other, so you won't be able to trade a cash against an OMG on day one, but very shortly thereafter you will be able to. So we will have our own pairs effectively. You can have every single one of these will be a pair. So if you wanted to trade MKR to REP, then you can do that. Upon launch, however, they will be against the the Bitcoin, as you'd expect. So I think that's an interesting direction now for us. We will start to add more and more coins to give customers much more ability to, I suppose, invest inside the platform. They will be able to now do some investments. There's one token down here which you're probably not aware of. It's called the CIX 100. This is a token which we are very interested in that it is part of let's say a sister company of ours. That's probably not the right phrase. A company which we have close connections with, and they have produced a very interesting index concept, and it tracks the marketplace. So effectively it's a token that tracks the entire market, and we're going to add additional features that are coming with that token to the auto investing option in the near future. Okay, so here are some questions that have also been thrown at me in the recent weeks. So there's two sets of pages here of questions. Forgive me if the question you've asked is not on here, but I will quickly run through them. When will we see another exchange listing? I get asked this at least once every week from somebody. The answer is probably not anytime soon. We just don't believe there is a value right now to the company in spending limited resources on launching on another exchange. When you launch on an exchange, you don't just launch, you then have to create effectively trading bots to make sure that there is volume on that. And those trading bots all cost a lot of money. The exchanges all cost a lot of money. And we're already on what we think are pretty good exchanges. Okay, it's not Binance and it's not Coinbase, but they're still very high quality exchanges. So the answer, unfortunately, for everybody who's waiting for more, the answer is we probably won't have many more exchanges in the near future. Let me just see if I can just get off this and show my face at the same time. It might be a little bit more interesting than just seeing the screen. So if I just change that and then have, my apologies, as I say, it's a very clunky system. So there we go, I can do both, I think, at the same time. You probably can't see those questions very easily, but at least I can read them. When can we load cards with currencies other than Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin? So that is definitely on the agenda. I mean, you can't even load the card right now with the Crypterium token. So we definitely want that facility to come into place. We have to launch those new currencies first. and the other things we talked about, and then that is on our relatively immediate to-do list. We understand that's an important feature, and I personally want that because I have more than just Bitcoin, and in fact I personally find it a little bit irritating that I have to go out of one currency into Bitcoin and then load, because of course there's a double fee and it's not perfect. So we are aware of that. Maybe just as an aside, so just explain to you how we operate. We work in sprints. Any financial IT company will probably tell you that they work in sprints and certain release dates. You can't have somebody tinkering away in the background on live systems. So we work sprints. We work on 2 weekly sprints, and every sprint we can do, I don't know, between 4 and say 6 major updates. And this is probably not in the next sprint or even the sprint after, but maybe in 3 sprints time we might see this token being added. What about Turkey and Brazil? How are you going to support these countries that have really been kicked off? Now, it wasn't our choice. I mean, Brazil is very, very important to us. It's one of the biggest crypto communities in the world. There's a very active Crypterium group, and a very nice group of people write to me regularly, not just to complain, but to congratulate and ask very nice questions. So hopefully the Visa card fixes this problem. As I say, we are testing the Visa card. We've done the KYC for the 2 people, one for Brazil, one for Turkey, and we've had 0 issues. We've had 0 issues with the card being transacted. So I'm hopeful that fixes the problem. It won't fix every problem. We won't still be able to maybe do every function, but in terms of payments and having a card, that issue should be fixed. Token burning is still monthly. Any plans to change that to daily or weekly? I also received a more complicated question from somebody today about the differences between our token burning on 2 different sites. It was a little too complicated for me to fully understand the question, but generally our token burning, we're actually quite happy with the way we're doing token burning. We do it once a month, we do it on a fixed date, and we think it is quite transparent. It's a lot more transparent than, say, a Binance who just do it randomly whenever they feel like. So we don't have so much volume that we could be burning tens of thousands of tokens every day. So right now we're still on a monthly. We still think we'll stay on monthly for at least the next few months, and we don't see an immediate need to go to weekly. So won't see a major change in that area anytime soon. App functionality is still missing some key components, e.g. Payout to IBAN. When will these be added? So again, go back to, there's only so much we are capable of doing at any one time. So within the forthcoming sprints, we've got several key features. First one is we will add a payout to Visa option. So right now we only have payout to a MasterCard option. Very soon we'll have a payout to Visa option. The payout to MasterCard is only a relatively low limit. It's not set by us, unfortunately, it's set by the network. But the payout to Visa option will have a much better solution. So that's hopefully one problem fixed in the very near future, days or let's say a week or 2. In terms of having a fiat currency service, we have 2 potential suppliers working with. I won't give you their names because we've got no contracts with them, but it's our choice as to which we work with. It's a matter of integrating with them. So what I would anticipate is we will have a fiat currency wallet that is probably provided by a third-party entity. So in the same way as I've described the white label solution for crypto, we will have a fiat currency solution inside our application that will look and feel as though you're inside the Crypterium application, but actually it'll be provided by a third party. In the first instance, it will be for European customers only. Unfortunately, when you come to fiat currency services, the restrictions on a global level cannot be gotten around because every single market has a regulatory body that you just can't play with. But that is currently in the coming period. We would expect to have an IBAN capability. Other things that are not working, say the investment part, that is definitely very high on our priorities, hence the reason why we've launched some additional tokens, or we are launching some additional tokens. So they're all on the immediate horizon. The crypto lending, crypto saving, Crypto saving, we will provide a solution with probably several partners. We are already integrating with BitGo to provide that capability, and we will probably add a few extra partners that have a higher interest rate than the BitGo. But right now, BitGo is being integrated with us to provide that solution. Okay, let me jump. I'm conscious of time. I don't want people to be too long. I've already taken over the 30 minutes. I have savings not being launched as prioritized. As I mentioned, sorry, we are moving with BitGo, and we will have another provider. It is in the being done phase. I mean, I can't. It's not on the in the future plans. It is being done as I speak. Investment options. That's probably end of Q2, early Q3. We see a solution here that is an auto enrollment, not auto enrollment. Sorry. A follow strategy where effectively you just follow a strategy, and it will be connected to that other for the CIX 100, but we will also bring in other strategies that people can follow. It would be very simple. It will be no more complicated than we currently do. Click a button. I'd like to put 0.1 of a Bitcoin into this strategy and just see what happens. It's a lot more complicated, of course, than I've just made it sound, but for the user, it will be a simple process inside the application. Payout MasterCard too low, I've just covered that. Some of the key team members have left. What are their plans to replace them? So I would say we've had an incredibly stable team, bearing in mind we're a fintech company in one of the most exciting spaces in the world, blockchain and finance. We've had an incredibly stable team since day one. We changed our CEO after about 12 months, but apart from that, there's been very little change since day one. Some of you will have got to know Cyranoushe over the last couple of years. Cyranoushe has just gone off to do something different. If it wasn't for the current global lockdown, she'd be in New Zealand right now doing something just incredibly different than what she's been doing. She was a journalist by trade and just heading off to do something brand new. Cyranoushe has been replaced ably a lady called Carolina Matusa. Carolina, I've known Carolina for quite some time, and she was head of marketing for LA Token, if anybody knows LA Token. So she has a wide variety of network, fully understands the whole concept of promotion and token listings and the key features that we work on. So I'm very pleased to have Carolina. Some people may have noticed that Raphael hasn't been active for a while. Raphael is still part of the team. Raphael is just taking a break. We're in a lockdown period. It wasn't much that Raphael could actually be doing. And also, I won't go into details, but he needed a bit of recuperation for a knee problem that he had. So the only real change that I can say that we've got right now is the change of our marketing manager, and I'm more than happy that Carolina can do a very able job. Cyranoushe did a great job for us, but Carolina, as I say, has really some very good background and is already doing a good job for us. Last one, let's finish off. What's the reality check here? So Crypterium initially said that the goal was 1 million card users. It was probably me that said it. It was probably being very bravado at the time. Now, 1 million cards is a realistic goal, but it's not a realistic goal until the market really expands. As I said, the market is roughly 10 million users right now. When we did a survey of our users, only 20% of people said they wanted a card. So if the world is 10 million users and only 20% of our users want a card, you could probably say there's only 2 million people in the world who want a card. So it isn't quite realistic right now that we would have 1 million card users today. We are making some really big steps, and as I said, if you've got both UnionPay, you've got UnionPay, Visa, and you can pretty much cover everywhere in the world except 24 countries, which on a global economy level are not so important. I think we have a very strong base. Couple that with the fact that we're working on white label. All of those white label partners already have a strong user base. Then I would say the goal is still realistic, but we need the market to pick up. Now maybe the Facebook changes that they're announcing, maybe some other initiatives that we're waiting for the Chinese government to issue its own digital currency. Whatever it is, I don't know what it's going to be, but there will be a trigger that takes 10 million to 100 million. It won't go from 10 to 100 straight away, but it will start that curve. Right now our curve is pretty flat. Not ours as in a company, but the global crypto space. So we're very happy with the growth that we're showing, and I still think $1 million is reasonable. I think we've got the right card mix, the only card mix, and I think we've got the right strategy to work with B2B partners that can find those customers much quicker than we could through a traditional marketing approach. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. Of course, I want all of the things that you ask for to be ready quicker. I want them all to work perfectly when they go out. I also get frustrated when we have bugs or an email gets sent out and the link doesn't work, etc. And so, when people write to me and say, fix the bug, it's not that we don't try and fix the bug. The bug is there, and if it was easy to fix, we would fix it. But generally, I think we're heading in the right path, and I'm really pleased with the launch of the Visa and the white label. And as I said, additional tokens are coming in the near future. So I think that's it. Apologies if I've not picked up your question. I'm already taking 36 minutes. It's supposed to be a 30-minute. I am very verbose. So thank you. If you watch live, thank you very much. If you're watching on a later stream, maybe some of those things I've mentioned will already be out. Maybe those tokens will already be out if you're watching this in a few days' time. So thank you very much for everything.